Oh, it's live, pal.
Sorry.
We will ban you from the Summerfest.
Right here in the Silverdome.
Jeff Harvey.
And I have half the brain that you do.
Welcome to the Wrestle Hunks Podcast, a podcast where three hunks get together and discuss some of the very worst things you can find on the WWE Network. As always, I'm joined by the hunkiest hunk, Brody Price.
Guys, how are we?
Always great when we're recording a podcast about ECW 2006.
My favourite time of the week.
And as always, I'm also joined by the self-proclaimed IMDb of wrestling, Nathan Marlow.
Ha-ha, goddamn pal!
I don't reckon I'm ever going to get sick of those impressions.
Thanks,
Actually,
man.
got a new one every week. I'm
definitely gonna try.
Yeah, you better have one related to the episode we're doing every single week, or else I'll be disappointed. Can't wait
I'll do my best.
Can't wait to hear your impression of someone on Saturday Morning Slam.
Sin Cara, yeah.
Just flipping around.
It's hard to do an impression of him when he
good
just
lucha
flips.
things.
That's the wrong one, bro.
Oh, whatever.
But yeah, last week was our debut episode, doing the infamous December to Dismember pay-per-view, and this time our debut episode actually worked, unlike our Hog Wild test run, which was great.
I thought we weren't going to mention that. Now people know.
Hey, no, it's nice to be open with the fans.
Yeah, there you go. Fair point.
But yeah, people actually listened to our podcast last week, which was nice, and we're now up and running on all podcast services except Spotify, which we can't submit to until we have 5 episodes done. So in a few episodes' time, we'll be on there. But we're on all the gimmicks now. So download us and rate us 5 stars.
Are we sure that wasn't just me listening to it over? I'm a mark for myself, so I was just listening to my parts all week.
I thought so, and I was like, I listened to it a bunch on Podbean. But then when I went and looked at the stats, I don't think it counts multiple listens.
Ah, okay.
We had a bunch of listens. Like as soon as we got onto iTunes and we promoted that, it like went nuts, which was cool to see.
That is good shit. I appreciate the support.
Yeah, thanks,
We're a professional podcast now. Invite us to Starcast too.
I will be there.
Page out of Sam Roberts' wrestling podcast. The last professional broadcaster.
But the Wrestle Hunks Podcast is brought to you each and every week by the Simon System. And Nat, you are going to tell us a little bit about the Simon System.
Chances are, if you're one of the millions of Americans listening to this, you're probably overweight. But have I got great news for you. My name is Simon Dean, and I'm here to help you. With my patented Simon System, it will make you lose the pounds and make you have a successful life. And remember, Simon says, I believe in you.
Well, very well said. I believe if you use the code HUNK at simondean.com, you can get 10% off the Simon System.
I'm sure the Simon System phone number is still working, guys, so give that a shot.
I would be very disappointed if it's not still working.
Yep.
But in case you didn't know, this show is where we take a look at something on the WWE Network that is a little bit shitty, and we give our thoughts on it and kind of dissect it. This week we're reviewing episode 18 of the WWE's revival of ECW. This episode is more commonly known to people as the ECW Strip Poker episode. It was another close race in our Twitter poll this week. Obviously Strip Poker won on 39% of the vote, ahead of WCW Spring Stampede 2000 on 27%, King of the Ring 2002 with 19%, and episode 1 of Legends House coming in last with 15% of the vote. It was a little sad to see that both my suggestion of Saturday Morning Slam and then the suggestion of Legends House have performed so poorly in these polls.
Yeah, my theory last week of me and the followers knowing, being on the same wavelength was debunked immediately after the first episode, so that's good.
And we just chucked up the Strip Poker episode as our 4th option.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it to get any love.
Yeah, that was just off the cuff. Like, we were trying to come up with a fourth option for the poll, and that ran away with it. Spring Stampede made a late run for it, though. I wanted to watch that badly, because 2000 WCW, it's guaranteed to be a garbage fire.
I don't know much about that
Same
one,
with Legends House.
I'm excited to watch Legends House eventually, so hopefully we get to it.
I've been excited ever since we what were we watching? Was it SummerSlam? And then after it, they played Storytime.
Oh God, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
and
what it
Mean
was,
Gene
yeah.
told a story about something they did during Legends House. It's like, I want to watch this show now.
We just don't want to watch it, in our spare time.
Exactly. I want to have a reason to watch it instead of being a sad sack who's watching it for fun.
Unless there's people that are listening that watch it for fun. In which case, thanks for listening.
Yeah, obviously, if there's listeners that watch that for fun, that's
You're
all the
great
best.
people. Yeah.
But as always, I got to ask the question: had you boys ever seen the ECW Strip Poker episode prior to this?
No, I don't think so.
You hadn't seen any of it?
I don't recall watching it by the ECW. Like I said last week, I remember a couple things from ECW in about 2006, but I can't believe I missed this one when I was watching wrestling back then. Missed that show.
Well, my horny teenage ass definitely saw this.
Are you saying you've watched it recently?
No, not recently. I didn't know it went for as long as it did, though.
Yeah, for the whole show.
Yeah, when I went back to watch it, I didn't remember that they keep cutting to it every single segment. I remember watching it at the time. I was on I think ECW was just airing on Saturdays, like after Monday Night Raw. There was a classic lineup on Fox 8 on a Saturday.
Anyone outside Australia doesn't understand how good Saturdays were.
They don't understand. You wake up, and from like 8 or 9, there's The Simpsons marathon just playing until hits, was it 12?
12, yeah.
Midday,
And then it's a replay of Raw. And then after that, it was ECW, which is... You can't ask for a better Saturday.
I think you're forgetting Vintage Collection after that.
Vintage Collection was... I absolutely hated Vintage Collection, but I would just watch it because it was something to watch.
Occasionally they'd have a match from like the 80s or something. It was like all grainy, or like the 70s. Yeah, I'm not watching this, man.
Yeah, my memories of Vintage Collection was they played a lot of like really old stuff. And I'm like, can we get something from like 1998 or something kind of recent?
Maybe a vintage collection now where they're showing like mid-2000 stuff that we actually watched. Would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
They need to bring back all those weird shows that I don't even know if they played them in America.
The Experience, was that one?
Yeah, Experience was,
Yep.
they play that on a Sunday, like after Smackdown.
I'll be honest, I'd watch that now since I don't really get to watch the shows.
Well, they basically have that with This Week in WWE. But I don't know.
that's gay.
It lacks the spirit of Todd Grisham standing in a studio presenting what happened.
Yeah, I should bring him back.
They had 2 different like weekly recap shows, because I remember Free to Wear in Australia had WWE Afterburn.
Afterburn, that's the one.
And
Yeah.
it was the exact same thing. It was just like different like setup.
Yeah, they're all the same show.
But yeah, I do remember watching Strip Poker ECW at the time. I thought I was such a rebel for watching that, even though like my parents clearly didn't give a fuck. Like, it was Saturday afternoon, everyone was home. It's like they really don't care.
I feel like, remember, like everyone remembers the live sex celebration. Watching that with your parents is just something you probably shouldn't do when you're like 10 years old.
Yeah, I did the same thing, and I was like watching it. I badly wanted to watch Edge's celebration, and I kept being worried that like, oh my god, my parents are gonna come here and be like, nah, turn it off. You can't watch that.
I don't know, they're going to ban me from wrestling because of that.
And instead, they just didn't care at all.
Oh, they knew Nature was going to come out for the save. That's why.
I had real heat with Ric Flair for doing that.
Yeah, goddamn Nature. of all people, he should know.
But I think that leads us into the history, background, and build-up to this show. Who's that popping a dog? Is that you now?
Yeah, that's Nat for sure.
What dog you popping? Is this a Mike Tyson energy drink?
Is there another
Sure, all
float?
the perverts listen with headphones on. I hate that.
That's the old the X-Pac fucking energy drink. It's just one of the Red Bulldogs.
Just
Respect.
trying to stay awake.
Since it's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world.
Very true. So, ECW episode 18, it aired on October 10, 2006, but I believe this was pre-taped a few days earlier. I forgot to actually check that. But the day it aired, Ian Scott, a Canadian politician, died, and Michael John Rogers, an English ornithologist, died. So rest in peace to them. Not quite as good as Fredo Frog dying like last week, but you can't win them all.
He's trying to think of something funny to say about those guys' names, so you can't think of anything. It's not as good as Fredo Frog.
When I went to the website to see what happened on that day in history, I was really disappointed. Like, not much was happening there.
Oh, what a boring day.
I know I might need to have to broaden my horizon to be like, what movie was number 1 at the box office or something.
Or for the week or something.
Yeah, that might be a better idea because no one gives a shit about Michael John Rogers.
Fucking Ian Scott.
Someone's just put their dad on there. They're like, oh yeah, he's an important figure.
You crook politician.
ECW episode 18 was held in the Kansas Coliseum in Wichita, Kansas. And into a little bit of the background of the show, after the success of the One Night Stand pay-per-view in 2005, the decision was made eventually to relaunch ECW as the WWE's third brand. This revival kicked off at the 2006 One Night Stand pay-per-view, and ECW's debut episode aired on June 13, 2006. However, if you go on to the network and you look at the WWE ECW section, they actually have, there was a special, I think it was like Thursday night special on whatever channel that they were airing on at the time.
NBC.
Was it?
I think it was NBC.
Yeah, it was. It might have been NBC actually. Yeah, and it was a ECW versus WWE like special. So that could kind of be considered the first episode, but June 13 is really the official episode. The premiere episode received a 2.79 rating, which made it the highest rated show for its time slot, which actually surprised me. And it continued to receive healthy ratings throughout its first few months, which resulted in Sci-Fi extending its contract through to 2007. Are you boys just surprised a little bit that ECW rated so strongly throughout, its first little period of being on the air, despite most people, when they look back on this revival, they think of it as extremely poor?
No, not really. After watching this episode and knowing Kelly was on there, why wouldn't you watch ECW every week? I would.
I mean, it's got probably the demographic that they want, probably watching it for the first year.
Yeah,
for sure.
Till they realise it's watered down. Not what they grew up with.
They also threw a lot of star power at the brand. Like, you can't fault Vince for at least not trying a little bit to make ECW a success. Like, first putting Angle as a permanent member of the brand, and then having guys like Batista and Taker and stuff appearing early on. I'm pretty sure, I was just looking at the thumbnails on the network, I'm pretty sure Cena and like DX appeared as well, so they're obviously trying to get it off to a strong start.
I've watched that episode actually.
I was surprised. Like, I was scrolling through and I don't remember like so many Raw and SmackDown guys appearing on ECW.
I don't really remember. I know Kurt Angle went over there initially, but how long was he still with the company for until he left?
Not very long.
I reckon it was like a month maximum.
Yeah,
it wasn't very long.
Because you don't see him in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he hasn't lasted to the 3-month mark, so
yeah,
not long at all. This particular episode did a 1.74 in the ratings, and ECW as a brand would only reach this ratings number 3 more times throughout its entire run. This episode didn't rate quite as strongly as the episodes from the show's first couple of months, but it did give the show a significant rise from the week prior. The week prior, the show did a 1.66, and the next week, ECW only managed a 1.6. Do you think there's any correlation there in the drop in ratings coming maybe from this controversial strip poker episode? Do you think people might have been a little offended?
No.
You don't reckon?
You know why they didn't tune in? No, they didn't tune in next week because there wasn't strip poker.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually,
That could be. It could be an argument to be made there. They're like, oh, is this going to be a weekly thing?
No one cared about the week before.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What did you say, Nate? I missed that.
Well, no one was watching it the week before. Had a jump in the ratings.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm thinking like clearly like the strip poker idea like pops ratings a little bit, but then it dropped back the next week. Like, I would have thought more people would have hung around to like, oh, what other extreme stuff are they going to do? But apparently not. So what I found in preparation for this podcast, trying to do some research, is that information about this specific, pretty infamous ECW show is actually kind of hard to come by. The one solid piece of information available about the event from back in that time is that there was backstage talk in the wake of this that the strip poker segments were embarrassing, and that many people within the company were down on creative direction of the WWE at the moment. At this time, the show of ECW had not been the focus of a pay-per-view since SummerSlam, which was held on August 20 that year, where the Big Show successfully defended his ECW championship against Sabu in an Extreme Rules match. Technically, the Big Show was featured at Unforgiven on September 17, but ECW was really an afterthought in his match and feud, and the fact that he was ECW champion wasn't really a selling point of that. And the Smackdown pay-per-view No Mercy was held just 2 days prior. Now, onto the actual show here. The number of dead people this week is, again, 2.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're running it back from a couple months before December to December, so that makes sense.
Wait, so Test and Balls?
Test and Balls again.
Test the balls.
I feel like we're kind of turning into an ECW podcast. Accidentally as well.
Yeah, I'm not putting it on the poll for next week.
Yeah, no ECW.
Yeah, luckily, little bit of a spoiler for later on in the podcast, but Hell in a Cell, the pay-per-view is coming up soon, so we've decided to make the poll all Hell in a Cell matches, and thankfully ECW didn't do a Hell in a Cell match.
Extreme Hell in a Cell match. That would have been great. I should have done that.
That would have done well. I guess the Kennel from Hell is kind of...
If only ECW did some sort of extreme chamber match.
I know, that would have been a great idea.
Maybe
There's no way
with
that could fail.
Maybe an elimination style.
You could just fill it in with rubbish matches, and I'm sure people would buy that.
Maybe, sir, I have a volley.
I'm sure that impression was very popular with the fans last week. It's spot on. But so the show kicks off with a very bold content warning that sits on the screen for like about 15 seconds, telling viewers that the program is rated TVMA and that the show would be containing explicit language, adult themes, violence, and isn't suitable for viewers under 18, which is a pretty big difference compared to the PG rating they have these days. I know you didn't watch this at the time, apparently, Pricey. I was going to ask, when watching as a kid, did your parents ever actually give a shit about this warning, but you didn't watch it at the time? I think it's obvious that mine and Nat's parents didn't care about it.
No, no, they didn't care about these ratings. Like I said, the Edge and Leader thing was somewhat probably not as similar, but no, they just saw it as wrestling. I don't really think they even paid attention to the warnings or the ratings of it. So, no, I wouldn't think so. But unluckily, I'm unlucky that I didn't watch this when it came out. I've missed out as a kid.
Yeah, our parents didn't really care about it. I was more surprised about the actually going to the TVMA rating. Like, do they really need to do that? They don't actually do anything that would warrant a TVMA rating.
Only thing I could think of was Sandman was bleeding during the show, but everything else is like blurred out and things like that. So there wasn't really. Yeah,
but you're seeing them like bare naked.
Yeah,
I guess, but it's blurred, and like they say, like that the show is going to be containing explicit language, and like they don't swear. They actually like self-censor themselves. There's adult themes, I guess. They're pretty suggestive in the strip poker game. And then obviously there's violence, but it's nothing crazy. There's not even an Extreme Rules match, so...
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of René Dupree's god awful tights.
Oh, I'm glad that you mentioned that because
We'll get to that.
take note of that. We'll get to that soon. But after the content warning, we cut to Balls Mahoney, everybody's favourite ECW original, I reckon, who introduces the strip poker segment, promising that one or more of these girls will get naked. And here there's background music playing that sounds like it's straight out of like a stereotypical porn. Then Balls Mahoney introduces the girls who will be playing, which are Trinity, Kelly, Maria, Candice Michelle, Ashley Massaro, and Crystal. As each girl is introduced, they each make a sexually suggestive comment when Balls introduces them, and it's pretty cringeworthy. What I noticed here was that I'm pretty sure that this fucking segment was filmed on the same set where Todd Grisham would film like Experience and Afterburn.
100%.
Like fucking.
This is definitely filmed in Stanford.
Mean Gene was doing vintage collection on this set, and then they've shit all over him by having strip poker here.
Some disrespect to Mean Gene, I think.
Mean Gene didn't die for this.
I just going through like when they were introducing themselves and that. How the fuck did this air? Honestly, like looking back on it now, it's I just don't get it.
Well, as Todd Grisham would say, like this.
We're going way over our Todd Grisham mentioned quota for this episode.
Never thought we'd mention him, but I'm glad we did.
What's he doing these days?
Is he still on ESPN?
He was on ESPN.
He was reporting for SportsCenter and stuff. I remember that. That used to be like the thing. Like if you were a backstage interviewer, you after you were done with the WWE, you'd go to SportsCenter.
Yeah, WWE should hire me. Moving on.
I did want to mention like some of the things that they say when they introduce don't even make sense. Like they introduce Trinity and she says like she's got some foreplay on. It's like she says she's wearing foreplay. I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense.
That's an American thing that we don't get, maybe?
Yeah, maybe it was lost in translation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Trinity was also looking real old.
Yeah.
Oh, no, she is.
I didn't think she would look that old at December to Dismember, but here...
Did you hear what Crystal said? She said, you couldn't afford this.
Yeah, well, she was wearing something that looked incredibly, like, cheap.
Also, I had really never really heard of her, and that Candice Michelle probably has a lot more money than her.
Wasn't Crystal the person that married Teddy Long when he had his heart attack?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be a different person. I don't know.
No, that's her.
They cycled through a lot of divas in the mid-2000s. It's hard to keep up.
They did.
But here, Balls Mahoney explains the rules of the strip poker game, and it's obviously the worst game of poker in history. He gives each of them a single card, and whoever has the highest card wins, and the lowest card loses. There's no benefit for winning here. I don't know why they even mention winning. But if you're the loser, you have to remove an item of clothing, obviously. They're all drinking here, but Kelly can't because she's 19. They play the first round, and Ashley loses the first hand and takes her shirt off. We then finally get the ECW intro. And something I wanted to mention here is, where do you reckon this ranks in terms of the all-time great wrestling show intros? Because this is, as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty high up there.
Yeah, it's probably the best ECW one they've ever had.
It's the best one I remember, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember any of the other ECW ones, but that's... For a first intro, it's pretty solid. Gets you up and about.
I was ready to watch after that. Had me hooked.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Well said.
Yeah, I was singing to that. What a banger.
Taz, you can make the argument that based on the success rate of the French and battles globally, you know, thrown in the white flag and all that, no Frenchman belongs to the ECW.
No, I don't think this guy's René Dupree, the most extreme athlete in the history of ECW either. That's my opinion.
You think it's a coincidence that his tights are the same color as the famous French surrender flag?
I'm not looking at his tights.
We give up! We give up! We give up!
So the first match on the card is CM Punk defeating René Dupree in 3 minutes and 27 seconds. Punk gets the win when he transitions from a pinfall attempt into an Anaconda Vice. First thing I noticed when they were making their entrances and stuff is that at this point in time, the production of ECW was still a little different to how things were done for SmackDown and Raw. The entranceway is still tiny, and the hard cam and announce table are set up in different spots, which I like this setup.
Yeah, it gives it a way different feel.
I went back and had a look at the Raw and SmackDown the same week. They weren't in the same arena. I was just trying to think, like, did they do this in like a different arena, like tape a couple shows at once for ECW?
I think so, because they weren't taping with SmackDown at the time.
Because like, you're not going to tape like an hour show, and then that's it. Like that's all. Like you'd have to have a lot of dark matches and stuff like that.
Yeah, they might have. Because I don't think they would have. They wouldn't have been doing a SmackDown taping with this, because you can tell from some of the shots, like, this is a pretty tiny arena.
Yeah, it looks a lot.
So like, I don't think they'd be doing SmackDown there, but I liked the tiny arena. It's like a real different atmosphere about this show, and I actually kind of liked it. Like, people were up and about.
Yeah, it felt
good
different.
vibe.
Yeah.
I'd also completely forgotten that René Dupree was in ECW. Like, I know we talked about it a bit last week because he was in a dark match, but I was so confused. Like, he was undefeated, according to Joey Styles on commentary at the time of this match.
I'm a French kind of guy.
Like after his single run on SmackDown that turned into him tagging with Kenzo Suzuki, I don't remember a single René Dupree match watching as a kid at all.
I think this is probably the only singles match I've seen of René Dupree.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Good point.
But
Also,
sorry.
He needed to put some fucking knee pads on. He looked like a pervert.
Yeah, he did. His gear, I mentioned that.
Shocking.
My note was, Dupree is jacked, but has garbage gear.
He is jacked. Oh my god, he looks good.
He's jacked here. His haircut could use a bit of work.
I mentioned that as well. His haircut was something else. That's bad.
But yeah, his gear, like, zero effort, just plain white tights, no knee
Looks like a
pads.
diaper.
It does. And then the boots have like RD on it. Like, he's not even playing up that he's French anymore. It's like, who are you? Come on, you need a character.
Well, Joey Styles and Taz still talk shit about France.
They do. He's coming out and they're just like hanging so much shit on France.
Yeah, Joey Styles mentioned that his tights are the same color as the flag.
The white flag.
Yeah.
The white surrender flag.
What do you reckon, like, French people think when they watch the WWE and they're just like shitting on them all the time? Because they don't really they don't shit on Australia, so we can't really relate.
Yeah,
I'm sure if you're French, it's not great.
I wouldn't be happy about it. I'd get a little heated.
So they always go in on France. Like, take it easy. They're not that bad.
I mean, I'd back Buddy Murphy in all the time. So if I was French at the time, I would have been, right behind René Dupree.
Going to bat for him.
Yeah. Why isn't he world champion?
Put the strap on him, Vince.
Give him a breadstick.
Isn't he? Is he like still in his 20s? He's still
Yeah, he
pretty
would
young.
be.
That dude was really young when he signed.
Like, he could still have a run.
Roman versus Dupree.
Book it right now.
Main event in Eddie City. He's only 34 years old right now.
Jeez.
Jeez.
He can go probably.
What a career.
Rob Conway's probably dead.
Just look at me.
About 30 seconds into this match, we get a picture-in-picture to show us the strip poker game. This time, Kelly loses, and she takes off her shoes, which I'm sure CM Punk loves having his match interrupted for that riveting television.
Is this the one where Joey Styles says about Snitsky loving feet?
He does mention Snitsky there, but I didn't quite catch it, so I'm like, why does he mention Snitsky? He's not on ECW yet.
Oh, actually, it might be later on when Maria did it, because he did it backstage at one of the pay-per-views to Maria.
God,
Don't know why I remember that.
I just thought it was such a random mention.
Yeah, it was just out of the blue.
They also interrupt the match a second time to show Trinity taking off her top. But as for the match, I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was a pretty good opener. It perfectly gets Punk over while not making René Dupree look like too much of a chump. It's kind of a shame that it gets interrupted for Strip Poker twice, because I thought it was pretty solid opener.
Yeah, Dupree got some offense in, and the crowd was pretty hot for Punk, like we said last week. The ECW crowd was pretty into Punk at the time, so I didn't have any problems with it.
I would have liked it to go on longer. I liked it. I actually liked that match.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit of a theme for like this episode. Like this
And
match
the
could
ending-
definitely have gone 5 minutes at least.
Yeah, and the ending was just like out of nowhere, Anaconda Vice. I guess that was his like gimmick kind of thing, but it's a bit anticlimactic. Like,
Yeah, out of nowhere, he just had
I don't know.
There was no
Yeah.
struggle. There was no struggle for him to get it
Yeah.
on. He just had it on.
Yeah, I'm kind of like caught in between of thinking like I do like the whole CM Punk kind of MMA gimmick they're going for, where like he can win out of nowhere with the Anaconda Vice, but also it's like he goes for a pin, Dupree kicks out, and then he just locks it in. It's kind of just it's over now. Like I don't know, I'm caught in two minds. But after the match, we cut back to Strip Poker because we haven't seen it enough already. It's already been shown 4 times, and we're like 10 minutes in. This hand is a tie, which is pointed out by Maria, which is impressive because her gimmick is supposed to be that she's really dumb, so it's impressive. But she asks what they're supposed to do in this situation, which is a pretty good question. And Balls Mahoney decides that they both need to take something off. Maria takes off her stockings, which Balls catches in his mouth, and I thought this was pretty impressive. Did you catch that?
fuck off.
That's impressive.
I don't know. That's
It's a fucking stocking.
It was impressive.
Not like the shoe later on.
I don't know. It was a good throw. Balls he didn't have to move.
Balls, yeah, I guess. He does have a pretty big mouth.
Yeah.
Also, Candice Michelle takes her skirt off, so there's that too. At this
Just
point,
bring the
I
lead there,
was thinking, do you reckon this strip poker game was a work or a shoot?
Yeah, I have that in my notes as well. I'm curious to know.
No, because there was one stage, I wish I had written it down, but it was very clearly like they set up like the cards fall apart. But
Really? I didn't notice that. Obviously the closing segment is obviously a shoot, but I was just like, I mean, you don't really have to work this. You can just play the game and, see what happens.
Well, I mean, they probably wanted to get each diva a shot, so I would assume it was a work, but
yeah, because no one cared about Crystal.
yeah, you don't want just Crystal just taking off her clothes every segment. Or
Gotta have it.
No offense to Crystal.
Got to have it even Stevens.
Yeah, if Crystal's listening, we apologise for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying I wanted to see Kelly as well.
I mean, evil Brody Price wouldn't mind seeing Crystal naked, but
I doubt Crystal will DM me, man. But if she is, at Evil Brody Price on Twitter.
Oh, you know who might DM you?
No, God, yeah.
is it our favourite listener?
A number one fan.
Let's not. Let's just move on.
Or are we leaving that?
Kevin Thorn. Let's go.
Bella's Bliss. By the way, I followed her with the show account. Do you realise it's not Bella Bliss? It's Bella's Bliss. There's an S in it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So you two ding dongs keep fucking it up. So.
I don't fuck it up.
Oh, well, then, yeah, it's our host. I'll let
Just,
you host.
just a shame her friend Megan just decided to unfollow me. Just air the dirty laundry out here.
We're just going to fire shots at people all day on Twitter. This is what our podcast should be.
Yeah, that's better idea than us watching the ECW Strip Poker. Just us sniping people from a distance that have wronged us on Twitter.
Taking pot shots.
Hey.
I like it.
You know what? I'm going to see you at World Series Wrestling. So,
We might
What
sit
do you
next
do,
to him
brother?
again.
We're gonna,
yeah, exactly, brother.
We're going to get into a fight is what we're going to do. I can feel it. Someone's going to hit one of us.
Yeah, when we're signing autographs in the parking lot.
You know what? I will stab Robbie Eagles.
Do you reckon it'll be Austin Aries that fights us?
Probably.
Seems like the kind of guy would get upset about us doing
You
this
know
thing
what?
in the
I'll
parking lot.
stab Slex.
Austin
How
Aries seems
dare
like the
dare
kind of guy to have nobody lining up for his autograph session.
Well, he's got too many belts, man. That's why.
His line was pathetic when we were at World Series of Wrestling.
Was no Matt Riddle, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
people were swarming Matt Riddle. They couldn't care less about Austin Aries.
Bro.
But back to the show at hand. We go to an ad break and then immediately come back to the strip poker segment. Balls says that the dealer gets to decide what article of clothing the loser has to take off in this round. Crystal loses this hand and Balls makes her take off her skirt. Ashley slaps her ass and they get in each other's face, which this would have obviously been a barn burner pay-per-view match. I'm disappointed we didn't get that payoff.
Do you reckon Paul London and Brian Kendrick be in Ashley's corner?
I'd hope so. Wasn't it? Did they ever confirm? Like, I'm pretty sure they'd insinuate that one of them was dating her.
I have no idea. We'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, there used to be a WWE.com post about them, oh, they went to this concert together.
I've watched all sorts of random shit, but I've never watched 2006 Smackdown.
You should.
I'll have to start.
But enough of that. It's time for everybody's favourite vampire, Kevin Thorn, baby.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Oh, check it out.
Hey, look at the pain the Dreamer's in.
Yeah, I'm thinking pain. You're pain in my ears. I'm trying to watch Ashley here losing her shoes. Ashley seems to be losing. She lost her top earlier, now her shoes. And Ashley's not too mad that she's losing either. Neither am I.
Yeah, I've got in here my boy Kevin Thorn, Love Hard Eyes. Because, obviously, why didn't he get a push? I just don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't
With
make
Ariel
sense.
in his corner, he could have been destined for great things.
They're unstoppable. Top heel.
You know, Brody, if instead of Tommy Dreamer versus Kevin Thorn, if this was Tommy Dreamer versus Vampiro, and Vampiro was making his entrance, what would he say?
Fuck, I'm going to mess this up.
Where's the fucking music? Play my fucking music.
I wonder what Vampiro is saying right now. He's probably just trying. Honestly, that's not a WWE thing, but we're gonna have to get Brandon to watch that.
Maybe he's dropping a big fat fart on commentary.
I did see that.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Or he says Matt Striker is one of those sissies in the Me Too movement.
What?
Yeah, that's what a show that was.
I'm very
We'll have to get to that.
confused.
We'll actually have to cover that.
What is this?
Triple Mania 26 this year.
Oh, okay.
And you get to see Ray Fenix versus Jeff Jarrett in the main event.
That's fine, Brandon.
Can't believe I missed that.
It's got a 16-minute low lights package. That was like half of Botchamania this week.
So, Tommy Dreamer defeats Kevin Thorn in 3 minutes and 56 seconds. This is actually Kevin Thorn's first loss on ECW, if commentary is to believe that he's actually undefeated at this time. They have a lot of undefeated guys, apparently. Pricey, I know you're the resident Kevin Thorn fan. What did you think about his undefeated streak just being tossed aside?
Undertaker's streak when Brock beat Undertaker was probably the number 2 most shocking streak ending, I would have thought. Kevin Thorn losing is just, why would you do it? This is the first step in them ruining Kevin Thorn's main event run.
They've ruined René Dupree tonight and Kevin Thorn.
It's
Doesn't make any
impressive.
sense.
They've just
On the same night.
ruined all their top talent.
Got no heels.
This is on the same levels as Jericho beating Rock and Austin in the same night.
Wow. Yeah, well, Jericho didn't turn out to anything, did he? No.
Who is that guy?
Haven't seen him in years.
Doesn't he sail boats or something?
He's the son of a hockey player, I believe.
One thing I wanted to know, do you guys reckon Kevin Thorn works the indies at the moment?
Maybe.
Because
I
if he
don't know.
does, and he's listening, I will train. I will do whatever it takes. I will have a match with Kevin Thorn on the Independence if he's still wrestling. If he is as well. I want that match. Is that a dream match or what?
I'm having a look now at Kevin Thorn's
Yes.
Wikipedia.
I'm pretty sure he
He
is.
I prefer him in the Mordecai gimmick, but if he's Kevin Thorn, that's fine.
He worked
I'll work with it.
FCW until 2009, and then he wrestled in Europe as Seven Thorn.
Seven Thorn. I like it. It's clever. Probably still get over. He's fine.
Oh,
Well, his last thing on Wikipedia was 2010.
I'm going to bring him out of retirement.
maybe he's dead. Are we sure that he's alive?
He's 41 and doesn't say he's dead.
I hope he's living it up.
I'm going to hit him up on Twitter.
So might be stating the obvious here, but Tommy Dreamer is over as fuck. Here, I don't think that is much surprise. An ECW original in front of an ECW crowd is pretty over. But 30 seconds into this match, they again cut to Strip Poker, where Ashley has again lost and is taking off her shoes. We also cut back to the poker game for a second time in this match, and Candice Michelle is losing her top. It's impressive they were able to cut to it twice in a match that didn't even go 4 minutes long.
Do you think Ariel is jealous that she's not there?
Taz and Joey Styles mentioned that on commentary. Like, why isn't she there?
Do you know she only retired last year?
She was around for ages.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
TNA, baby.
Was she was in Impact, yeah.
Yeah.
Was she the one that in the middle
Shelly
of the match
Martinez.
got hit in the vagina and she like screaming out my vag?
Oh, I definitely don't know.
If that wasn't her, I think she might have been in the match. But yeah, that's something you need to watch. It's at one of their like one night only weird pay-per-view specials. It's terrible. We might have to watch it.
Yeah. That is I know the pay-per-view you're talking about.
But Dreamer wins via DDT here. I thought it was, again, another really solid match. Nothing special, but short and entertaining. And like the CM Punk René Dupree match, I thought it could have gone on 5+ minutes. What did you boys think of the match?
Yeah, pretty solid. Interesting finish. Don't know if a DDT, I would have thought, a lot of chair shots and stuff like that would put Kevin Thorn down, but nonetheless, it's fine.
I was just thinking the whole time, I hate that Kevin Thorn's wearing that vest over the shirt.
Yeah, with the tie. Was he wearing a tie?
Yeah, he wears a tie with the red shirt, but he should be just wearing the red shirt. I don't know, just put me off, and it probably makes no difference.
Is this because you weren't a fan of the wrestling figure that they released in the ECW line of Jack's figures?
Yeah, I bought that and I loved it.
Had,
unfortunately, it was a very bad figure and it broke straight away. But I utilised his tie for the suited Batista that I had.
You did?
Because that broke off, and I used it for that. I still literally have that figure. It's probably next to me, actually.
You gotta get creative sometimes.
It's actually next to me right now. I've got it.
Wow.
Oh, show all the listeners.
Here you go, Here you go, guys.
It's good content for an audio-only podcast.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I think you had like the entire first series for the ECW line, didn't you, Nat?
We had everyone except for Rob Van Dam, but I did a tradesies with one of my friends.
Oh yeah, you did.
And I got a Rob Van Dam.
That was a good RVD.
I don't know what I gave him. Must have been some dog shit.
Probably our duplicate Funaki and duplicate Lillian Garcia.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Good trade.
Hey.
Good trade.
That was my only diva wrestler ever.
That's true. It wasn't even a wrestler.
Until I bought like Bailey like last year or whatever.
Yeah, but you keep them in the packaging. You don't play with them, so.
Doesn't even count.
Jeez.
Just a little detour here. Do Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins still play with their action figures, or?
I have listened to their podcast before we got on here. I listened to the pilot in full.
Isn't
they don't keep their stuff in packages?
So do they play with them?
Oh, I don't know if they play with them, but they don't keep it in the packaging.
I'm very much considering following that podcast. It's right up my alley.
It's easy to follow. They just talk about wrestling because I'm pretty sure Kurt Hawkins only does wrestling, like collecting.
But enough about Kevin Thorn. We could talk about him all day. Honestly, we could probably dedicate a podcast to his entire career.
Oh, I'm thinking about it.
Actually, that's a pretty good idea. Let's say that in the old noggin. Maybe do it around his birthday.
And like Mordecai / Kevin Thorn.
Yeah, obviously.
The whole shebang.
But after that match, we cut back to Strip Poker again. Crystal loses this round and takes her shoes off. They really love taking their shoes off. And there are a lot of feet shots here, so I'm assuming Kevin Dunn is in the truck with a real foot fetish and he's loving life.
This is heaven.
Here, Balls Mahoney offers to pick up Crystal's shoes off the ground, but when he stands up, he apologises for being at full chub, and the girls are just grossed out. Who the fuck did this shit?
What did the girls expect?
It's. I was taking notes and only half paying attention when this was happening, and I had to go back and I'm like, did that actually just happen?
Oh my god.
So fucking cringy.
Balls Mahoney did deserve this.
Oh goodness me.
That's why they have the TVMA rating. Balls Mahoney's fucking weird ass dick.
No person under the age of 18 should hear about Balls Mahoney's full chub. Did you say full chub?
He was full chub according to the segment. They're playing it off as full chub.
Yeah, just a full-on awkward boner dog.
Just hogging it up.
Wow, what a man.
Hog wild was going on in Balls Mahoney's pants.
Oh, goodness me.
But after that, we get a video package about Hardcore Holly's back injury from the table spot with RVD, the infamous table spot where he gets a pretty nasty gash on his back, and they were showing the "Don't Try This at Home" package for ages. They then recap last week where Hardcore Holly requested a rematch with RVD, which Heyman initially denies, and then Test attacks him from behind with a chair. So kind of keeping Hardcore Holly's name around while he's not actually on the card. We then cut back to the strip poker game where Trinity says she can't help but think about men now that they're naked. Candice Michelle chimes in with, I can't help but think about women, and they have a bit of a giggle. They then start talking about how hot John Cena is, which they segue into promoting the Marine. They talk about how much they love a man in uniform. And Maria jumps in with, I love ponies. And this popped the fuck out of me. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I was like full like laughing out loud.
Oh my god.
This was such a just like, nah, we're gonna fucking plug.
You know,
plug this John Cena movie. While probably the people who hate John Cena the most are gonna be watching this strip poker.
By the way, they mentioned Batista in between.
They did.
I can see the notes here. I initially thought, is this where like the how big is Batista's dick thing came from? That's what I thought. I thought, is this where they're gonna ask it? Like,
I'm pretty sure Batista like got around a lot at this time.
He was with Melina.
Like I enjoyed the them talking about Batista just because of that.
Was that a real thing? Like
Apparently it was.
Apparently
it
yeah.
was.
It was just on TV. Never mind.
Well, I've got Batista's book here if you want me to read that live on the air.
Is that called I Walk Alone?
Give me 3 seconds.
Where did you get all this stuff from?
Batista Unleashed. Dave Batista with Jeremy Roberts.
Oh, Jeremy Roberts, piece of shit.
It's,
probably related to Sam Roberts.
The wrestling podcast. Sam Roberts. Don't hate me.
So continuing on from I Love Ponies, Crystal then asks Kelly what's up with her and CM Punk, because they've been having a little bit of a kind of love interest sort of angle that is still going by the time December to Dismember happens, which is in December, obviously. So that's a long-ass time that they've been building that feud.
Yeah, Punk needs to make his move.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was surprised to hear that because, like, that's a long-ass time for this feud that nobody really cared about.
Speak for yourself.
Do you really love the love triangle feud?
It's so hot, man. You get the Mike Knox, who you don't really know if he's a heel or not. Get the Pepsi guy, and you get the 19-year-old stripper.
Was she shoot 19 in this? Because she doesn't look 19.
Nah, she's 19.
Pretty sure she is.
It's hard to believe.
Wouldn't she just have a drink then? Why would they go that far with the gimmick of being 19?
Yeah, true. But Balls Mahoney interrupts Kelly before she can answer. Kelly then loses this round, takes off her skirt, and then her shirt, and then her bra. She still can't dance here, and clearly doesn't understand the rules of the strip poker game. You're not supposed to take off 3 items of clothing, just one.
Yeah, but she's an exhibitionist. That's what she does. And she also got background music for her taking off.
Yeah,
clothes.
they started playing her entrance theme.
They did. Fuck.
A lot of effort went into this bit here, and she still can't dance.
They're building up Kelly to be the Hulk Hogan of the Divas.
She's getting a Roman Reigns push.
Oh my god.
After this, we get a promo package about the premiere of the Marine, and I mean, that's just promoting the Marine, as if we didn't already have enough of that. But that leads us into our main event, which is Rob Van Dam, Sabu, and the Sandman defeating The Big Show, Matt Striker, and Test in 14 minutes and 51 seconds.
Go Sandman! Watch out! The Rolling Rock connects! Cover! It's last call for Striker!
During Sandman's entrance, we again cut back to strip poker where Ashley has to take off her skirt. We're shown strip poker again. Crystal takes off her top. Then we get a cut to Maria taking off her skirt and Trinity taking off hers. It gets pretty excessive with these mid-match cuts. And I actually found this extremely annoying. What did you think of keep going back to strip poker in the middle of the match?
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be the main event. There should be they've already shown the strip poker a lot. So the main event, should get a lot of focus. Like a lot of top guys in this and Matt Striker. So I would have, actually shown the main event, but it is what it is.
Who gives a fuck about these has-beens from ECW? Show me the puppies.
You calling Sabu a has-been, man? Dude can go.
Yeah?
And his theme's a banger.
Do you guys think that Sandman looked a little sloppy? I never watched a Sandman match.
Sandman was real sloppy. I think
he's not very good.
He
I
took...
just assumed he wasn't.
Was it like a shoulder tackle or a clothesline, like when he first gets in the ring? And the bump he takes is so bad.
Yeah, it's really awkward.
Yeah, I didn't remember him being this bad.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really notice.
I don't remember him being good.
Yeah, okay.
I don't really remember much of him at all, except for his match with Carlito in the Singapore Cane on a pole match.
Oh god, we'll get to that.
Also, we seem to be like wrestling gear guys. We talk about it. Van Dam, GOAT wrestling gear of all time.
It's up there.
I actually thought during this match, I don't reckon I've ever seen him wear the same attire twice.
He changes up a lot.
Like, I literally, every time I see him, I'm like, oh, that's something new. How many pairs of tights does he have?
I don't know, but mad respect to him. But I just personally think that kid is pretty sick. All the airbrush stuff on it.
Airbrush tights are always a way to get over with me.
100%. Rick Rude, him, Velveteen.
Yeah. Not Ryback.
Ryback.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Rybacks.
Oh, I just don't like Ryback in general.
Yeah, fuck Ryback.
I like Ryback. He should send me some free supplements.
I like Skip Sheffield.
Yeah, Skip Sheffield I could get on board with. The corn-fed meathead. That's my guy.
When his catchphrase was, yip, 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 what it do?
I can't believe you remember that. That's amazing.
This is why we need to watch the NXT game show for an episode. I was going to suggest it for this week, but then when you just came up with the Hell in a Cell idea, I'm like, yeah, that's better. But we need to get to it.
Keep that in mind. We'll do that eventually.
It's full of gold.
For sure. Yeah.
Matt Striker really feels like the odd man out here, but I'm happy for him. He's main eventing on ECW, even if he does seem like a weird choice.
Yeah, he definitely did.
He just needed someone to take the pin.
Yeah, that's what I assumed at the start of the match.
That actually is a good point, because everybody else in there, by ECW standards, are a genuine main eventer, and then you just got Matt Striker in there.
Yeah. It makes sense. Big Show and Test probably couldn't take the pin at that time. They're trying to build Test up, so that makes sense.
Since we're talking about Matt Striker, did you know the New Breed actually has a logo?
Has a logo? What is it?
Never seen
Describe
it. It's just a silver. It says the New Breed. You go on Wikipedia and literally write New Breed into Wikipedia. They have a logo. It's like it says NB New Breed underneath. They actually have a logo.
Do you reckon you could have got that on a shirt?
I don't know, but the stable went from February to June, so how the fuck did they get the logo?
I've never seen that before in my life.
Pushing him to the moon.
It's called on. Bring him back.
One thing I'll compliment Matt Striker on is his penis is not distracting like it was at December to Dismember.
Must have hit the blue chew by December.
Yeah, I thought about that during the match. I thought, is Brandon going to talk about his penis this week? And I didn't really notice it either.
It's a lot less distracting. I thought René Dupree was probably the MVP of having his fucking ding dong just on show for this card.
Can't it just be the ladies that are showing a bit of skin, you know?
I would have liked a strip poker episode with Matt Striker, René Dupree, the Balls Mahoney, Big Dick Johnson, Big Daddy V.
Oh, goodness me.
That would have popped ratings.
Oh, yeah. All the female viewers would have tuned in for that, I'm sure.
I'll reiterate what I said last week about Test. His body is disgusting. And when he stands next to Sabu in the match, Sabu genuinely looks like a child.
He is fucking jacked. And he's got a bit of back knee in this one, so...
Does he actually?
Didn't really notice it at December to Dismember, but definitely noticed it here, probably more earlier in his run.
Also, do you guys ever wonder, like, what happened to Test in between, like, his, like, 03 stuff with, like, Stacey Keebler and this?
I thought about it at the time when he came back. I have no idea. Do you know what he was doing?
I actually looked it up before because I thought about it. So it says here, Test in 2004, he had spinal fusion surgery performed by Dr. Lloyd Youngblood. Is that a they taking the piss or?
That's a fake name.
Yeah, that's his gimmick name.
But yeah, he got that done in July 2004, and then on November 1 of the same year, it was announced that he was released from his contract, along with A-Train and Billy Gunn. Bill Gunn?
Not Bill Gunn.
Oh, maybe they'll go on to make the Voodoo... What is it called?
Voodoo Kin Mafia.
Yeah, nice.
I can't believe they got a shout out 2 weeks in a row. I didn't know that was a thing before last week.
I didn't realise Bill Gunn was still around in 2004.
Yeah, we all love Bill Gunn.
But yeah, after that, he returned to the ring in May 2005 and started doing indie appearances.
Oh my god, he beat Samoa Joe.
And yet, one of his most notable victories during this tenure was against former TNA wrestler Samoa Joe. And then, on March 22, 2006, he was re-signed by WWE. What a man.
And then his official debut was in July.
And then his official death was March 13, 2009.
Look at that photo they have, though, under the return to WWE. He is huge.
He's a yuck, disgusting man.
René Dupree, give him a run for his money.
Make me sick to my stomach. Oh, he died 4 days prior to his 34th birthday. 34th, sorry.
When's his birthday?
4 days before March 13.
Oh, okay. Maybe do a test show.
Can I just say, we've turned this into the Test podcast. He's got a little filmography section here because he apparently was a bit of an acting nut. 2002, he's on Fear Factor, assuming on the WWE episode. Also, 2002, he did a voice acting gig for Kim Possible. He played Steel Toe.
Oh, probably gave him. He probably gave him like the big boot as his finisher.
In 2003, he appeared in Girls Gone Wild live from Spring Break as himself. In 2007, he appeared in Grindhouse as Nazi Boxer. Yeah. And then 2010, he was in Medium Raw Night of the Wolf as Benjamin Jacobs. This came out after he died.
Jeez.
Okay.
I did not know that.
I was trying to figure that out. I thought maybe that's why the Twitter account is Test Still Dead. Said he's risen.
There's a lot of confusion because a lot of people watch Medium Raw Night of the Wolf.
Oh yeah, I've seen it multiple times.
I also just like to say that the highlight of his career was probably being ranked number 37 in the PWI 500 in 2001.
That's pretty high for Test.
How's he that high? But enough of Test.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Test.
The finish of the main event involves Sandman pinning Matt Striker after a Swanton Bomb. They have another name here, but I completely forget what they called it.
Yeah, I've already forgotten.
Again, I thought this match was pretty solid. Arguably my favourite Matt Striker match of all time. But yeah, it was just another solid match. Nothing to write home about, but can't complain.
I thought the Swanton was pretty impressive by Sandman. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting him to hit it that smoothly.
Yeah, he did alright.
Like, Jeff Hardy hits it way worse these days.
Yeah, needs to take some lessons from Sandman.
I reckon Sandman could still hit it that well too. Give him a couple beers.
Yeah. Get some colour, get the blood rushing, you know.
There was actually a photo I saw over the weekend of Sandman.
Does he still look the same? Because I reckon he'd probably still look the same.
He kind of looks the same, and his head is fully healed. Actually, the photo was with Tommy Dreamer, New Jack, and Sandman.
Jesus.
And New Jack's head is still stuffed from all the blading he's done. And Sandman's is like fine.
Speaking of blading, during the match they have a close up of Sabu, and his forehead is like
Yeah, it's
cut
pretty
to
bad.
shit.
Him and New Jack.
Like, was it worth it, Sabu?
I don't know. I think he's going through a lot of health troubles at the moment.
Oh well, thoughts and prayers to Sabu.
Yeah, present.
Hopefully, our next ECW event we cover, we don't have to say that he's one of the dead guys.
We don't want that.
Let's keep it to Test and Balls Mahoney.
Jeez.
So to end the night, we cut back to Strip Poker for about the 50th time. Candice Michelle here loses, and she decides that she's going to take off her bra. While Balls Mahoney's in the background, and he's just kind of like clucking like a chicken or making some kind of weird noise. Did either of you notice that?
No, I wasn't paying attention to Balls Mahoney at the time.
I was like watching it, and then Balls Mahoney was like making some weird ass noise. I'm like, dude's lost the plot. But before Candice Michelle can take off her bra, she notices that all the other girls were given an ace for that round, except for her. Maria says that Candice is scared to take her bra off, and then Candice accuses Maria of cheating. Maria has a good line where she says she's not smart enough to cheat here, which... Honestly, this Maria character is pretty great.
I mean, it was kind of entertaining, at least.
She has some good segments with John Cena.
Yeah.
I reckon if she ever returns, that's the gimmick they need to go with. It'll get Mike over.
Mike's jacked to the gills.
Yeah, Mike
He's definitely going NXT.
He's definitely going to Test.
Jesus.
I mean, NX Test.
Oh, that's what it could have been. Oh, damn it. Yeah, man, Tess was still around.
Rename it in honor of him.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm gonna tweet at Triple H right now.
Do you guys agree? Tyler Breeze is kind of like the new Test. Like Test went to ECW, and that's the development brand. It's kind of like Tyler Breeze over the weekend went back to NXT.
Did he really?
I didn't know that. I didn't.
You didn't see that? Test and
was he
Luke
just
Harper.
wrestling it? Oh yeah, I saw Luke
I think
Harper.
they're gonna be. I think those are gonna be televised.
Really?
What?
I saw
Yeah.
Luke Harper wrestled Ricochet. I didn't see Tyler Breeze, unfortunately.
Wow, he's the next Test. So.
Don't say that.
So Candice rips Maria's bra off here, and then Maria immediately rips hers off in response. And they end the show by stripping each other completely naked and brawling on the floor while Balls Mahoney bangs the desk, chanting EC Dub.
EC Dub.
It should have been Joey Styles yelling catfight. To be honest.
That would have been a little better, but I reckon, as far as I'm concerned, this is one of the great endings to any wrestling show ever. Balls Mahoney just screaming EC Dub.
At two women naked, rolling around on the ground. It's perfect. What a way to close ECW.
Do you reckon they were shoot naked, or do you reckon they're gimmicking it up?
Nah, shoot.
You reckon?
Shoot, you reckon?
Who cares? Like, who cares if they were naked? Like, they're gonna blur it out anyway.
Both of them appeared in Playboy, so
Yeah, they probably wouldn't.
wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the people involved in this had appeared naked already at the time of this, so wouldn't surprise me if they were shoot going at it.
Including balls? I'm asking for a friend. That's all.
Wait, did Balls Mahoney ever win a title?
Oh, probably in ECW. Let's have a look.
Because then he could do a Shawn Michaels
Naked belt
naked
pick?
pose, but Tommy Dreamer's would be better than Balls Mahoney's.
Oh man, there's a photo of Balls Mahoney with short hair. It's so ugly. He looks like homeless Kevin Owens. Unbelievable.
Oh god.
Let's see here. He was billed from the South Pole when he was going by his gimmick Xanta Claus. Xanta, is it? No, it's Klaus. Is it Xanta Klaus? I don't know.
Is that a thing?
Apparently. Oh my god. I just found it here. In 1995, he briefly appeared in the World Wrestling Federation as Xanta Klaus. From 92 to 93, he jobbed under his real name, losing to Papa Shango, Marty Jannetty and Virgil at In Your House 5 Seasons Beatings in December, while Savio Vega and Santa Claus were at ringside handing out presents and playing to the fans. Wow, that's...
For fuck's sake.
I can't believe he was in WWF for a little bit. Let's have a look. Championships. He was ECW World Tag Team Champion 3 times, twice with Spike Dudley and one with Masato Tanaka.
Oh, what a tag team.
Hey,
Good chemistry.
PWI ranked him at number 99 in the top 500 singles wrestlers of 2000.
That's 399 too high.
I've also just come across that there's a Wikipedia page called List of Premature Professional Wrestling Deaths. So
Jesus.
might have a little browse of that when
I saw he was only 44 when he.
But what's the criteria of being premature?
So it's under 65. They have category for under 20, under 30, under 40, under 50, under 60, and under 65.
Okay.
But did you say that he was 44 when he died, Pricey?
Yeah, I think that's what I read.
How is he 44? He looks so old.
That's crazy how young he was.
Respect. That about does it for the match card for that night. What did you think was the best segment here?
The one with Kelly.
Where was Mike Knox in this?
Yeah, when she started taking off her clothes, I 100% thought he was going to come in and interrupt it.
Did this have storyline repercussions? Did Mike Knox yell at her? 'Cause Mike Knox and Kelly didn't appear on the next episode of ECW, so I'm not sure if they did continue this on.
I don't know.
Something we need to find out.
Yeah, they should have. Otherwise, that's a waste.
We'll find out next time on episode 19 of ECW.
I reckon probably the main event would probably be the best segment here. Either that or the end of Strip Poker with Balls Mahoney going nuts, or Maria saying, "I like ponies."
Oh, you've got a bunch of options, really.
There are a lot of contenders for best segment here. I actually reckon this wasn't that bad of a show.
Entertaining.
Entertaining
show.
Yeah, for an episode of ECW, it does what it has to do.
The Strip Poker stuff is dumb as hell, but it's funny in kind of a this is so bad way, and then the in-ring stuff's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're going for with this. We don't want to watch just legitimately shit wrestling. We want to watch stuff that's sort of like this. So I guess it made it's
There's stuff that's shit, but you can have a laugh at it.
Yeah.
So, unless you boys have any more comments about ECW Strip Poker, we might transition into the aftermath of this event. The following week, ECW went back to being focused on wrestling. The October 17th episode of ECW featured 5 matches and 0 segments about stripping or poker.
What a fucking disappointment.
I know, ECW was my favourite poker show. World Series Poker.
I don't know, I liked the Vegas Raws when they had the
Raw Roulette?
Yeah, Raw Roulette.
We actually have Raw Roulette as one of our potential episode ideas on our list of things to cover. So chuck that up in the poll when we get a chance.
I do love a strange Bedfellows match.
There hasn't been one of those for a long time. They didn't bring it back.
That's good fun. You never get to see that stuff.
But as I said, no stripping or poker on the next week's episode. In fact, the show featured absolutely no women on the card except for the debut of Rebecca Di Pietro, a 2006 Diva Search finalist who was making her on-screen debut as a backstage interviewer.
Did she ever make an in-ring debut? I've never heard of her.
I don't believe so. She was the interviewer at December to Dismember who interviews Bobby Lashley.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she had a bit of a run on ECW, but I can't say I ever remembered her.
Everyone listening from last week was like, "Whoa, what was her name?" And then we solved it 1 week later, guys. Well done.
Fuck, good journalisms.
Yeah,
We got good continuity on this show. The card for that particular ECW, it featured the Sandman defeating Matt Striker by countout in a Singapore cane on a pole match in 3 minutes and 44. Aren't those matches supposed to be like no DQ, kind of like? What's the point of countout there?
Yeah, so it's got no disqualification, but you can get counted out.
No, isn't it you pull the cane off the pole and then you can use it?
Probably,
Like
but a
that.
countout there, like, seriously?
See, if you can use the Singapore cane, but if you use a kendo stick, you'll get disqualified.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
probably some shenanigans from Matt Striker. He ran away, didn't want to get the cane.
Exactly right.
smart. Man.
Next match on the card was CM Punk defeating René Dupree via submission, 2 minutes and 10. This is obviously a rematch of the match they had on this card, and that goes even shorter. So René Dupree's undefeated streaks really hit a speed
I
bump.
wasn't ready. Santana Marlow.
Next up, we've got, the Battle of the Ghosts. Test defeating Balls Mahoney in 2:59.
Oh my god.
Oh, rest in peace. After that, they have Sabu defeating Shannon Moore in 1 minute and 24 seconds.
Okay.
The listeners might not know this, but I was a big Shannon Moore mark back in the day.
Can confirm that he was marking the fuck out when it was Jimmy Wang Yang and Shannon Moore, Miz and Morrison.
The thing is, though,
And he was seriously depressed when they lost.
the thing is, I was only a Shannon Moore mark when he wasn't like full on in Punk, like gimmick. So like
What's he?
in this ECW, like he's got like the full makeup and the huge mohawk. But then when he had his like Smackdown / ECW run like a couple years later, his like hair was like kind of medium length, but wasn't like in that, and like he dialed back the Punk stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is a guy I can get behind.
So
And,
you
like-
didn't like him with in Ink in TNA?
No, see, like I loved him and Jimmy Wang Yang together, and I didn't even particularly like Jimmy Wang Yang. I was, as Nat mentioned, I was devastated when they had a 15 minutes of fame match with Miz and Morrison, and they were so close. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Wang Yang hit the moonsault, was about to pin him, and then the time expired.
Yes, I literally remember like us watching that.
So I was devastated.
Like we were cheering because we fucking must have hated Miz and Morrison.
Jeez, that's
And then-
storytelling, that one.
I remember he went along with that gimmick for a little bit longer, but then they repackaged him again as like the Punk gimmick on ECW, and I'm like, nah, I don't like this. This is fucking garbage. And yeah, when he went to TNA, I was like, nah, I can't support this.
I don't remember the dude he tagged with in TNA yet.
Jesse Sorensen.
Jesus.
Wow, you are the IMDb. I didn't know that.
How do you know that?
Jesse Sorensen's the guy who he broke his neck or did a knee, and then he was on the payroll. They paid him out or something, and then they just fired him or something. some TNA shit. I just know that from Bruce Pritchard.
So the main event of that particular show was Rob Van Dam defeating the Big Show in 12 minutes and 48 seconds. ECW would end up being represented pretty heavily by their standards at the Cyber Sunday pay-per-view on November 5. Sandman was one of the possible voting options to be Umaga's opponent that night. Vote was eventually won by Kane. That's pretty random as far as selection goes there. I'm disappointed that he didn't get up.
Can't believe they didn't want to see Samu versus Umaga.
That would have been 5 stars. Put that in the Tokyo Dome. That's breaking.
They could have had that. They could have had that strap match.
But alongside that, they also had the Big Show being part of the Champions versus Champions match, which was eventually won by King Booker and featured Kevin Federline making a run-in, so...
That fucking heel.
That was a dark time in WWE.
It was a very dark time in WWE. But yeah, eventually that obviously leads into December to Dismember, which we covered in depth last week, and we sort of covered the downfall of the ECW revival on that show and the eventual evolution into a kind of developmental show. So check out that if you want to hear more about that. Do you boys have any final words about ECW episode 18?
I mean, I think we did these backwards. Maybe we should have done this one first and then done this after. But
Nah,
go
fuck off.
listen to both of them. Do that.
It's well said, well said. But that about does us for the show here. Thanks for listening to the Wrestle Hunks podcast. You can find the show on Twitter at Wrestle Hunks Pod. I'm on Twitter as @Source Marlow. Pricey is on Twitter as @Evil Brody Price, and Nat is on Twitter as @Nath Marlow. You can also find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, not Google yet, because apparently putting podcasts onto Google is banned if you're outside of America. So real
Fuck, we're
racism
heels.
there. You can also find us on YouTube, basically any services that support podcasts. As we mentioned at the start of the show, Spotify is coming soon. We just need to have 5 episodes published before we can submit to them. Feel free to rate us on iTunes. We've got a pretty good rating going at the moment. We're 7 ratings, all 5 stars. So we're burning the house down.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Get around us.
Pretty good support from the listeners. But now it's time for the part of the show where we suggest what we should cover next week. And as we mentioned earlier, Hell in a Cell is coming up. Our show is going to obviously take place after Hell in a Cell, but we're still going to do a Hell in a Cell theme. So what are your suggestions, boys?
Well, Nat's already stolen mine, so that's why I had to back up.
I told you. I told you over the weekend, mate.
I knew. I was pretty confident you were going to take it, so I had to get a backup ready. But yeah, Nat, did you want to go for yours?
I'm choosing Hell in a Cell 2010, and reason why? It's Kane versus Undertaker, which sounds really good in theory. It actually gets, I think it gets 1.5 stars by Meltzer, and they had to drag out Paul Bearer for that one. And it's probably, everyone says the rock bottom battle between them, and it's literally a pretty boring Hell in a Cell match, which you wouldn't think so since their feud started in a Hell in a Cell.
I think that was like the worst, or it's like close to the worst rated Hell in a Cell match ever. So I mean, that's pretty good.
It's a good
Thank you.
selection. Pricey, what are you throwing up for this week?
Throwing up Armageddon 2005. The reason being, I don't know, I just miss like mid 2000s SmackDown, so I thought why not throw that one in there. It's got a Hell in a Cell match.
What happens on that one?
The Hell in a Cell match is the Undertaker and Randy Orton, which main events.
I've never seen that.
Haven't you?
Yeah, I've never seen that either.
Single branded SmackDown event, and the world champion at the time, Batista, was in a tag match.
Batista was in a lot of tag matches during his world title runs. Like, they put him with Cena and stuff. It's like, give the man a go.
He's teaming with Ray against Big Show and Kane, so why not cover that one?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. My suggestion here is from out of left field. So out of left field, I didn't know it actually existed until about probably in the middle of the morning today. I'm putting up Super Brawl 4, WCW pay-per-view, and the listeners are probably thinking, what's the go there? WCW didn't have a Hell in a Cell. Well, technically they did. They called it the Thunder Cage match.
I thought it was the Doomsday one.
No, it's called a Thunder Cage, and apparently it was, like, according to my reading on Wikipedia, most people don't realise it existed because it was only used a handful of times. It's used here twice. There's a match between Sting, Brian Pillman, and Dustin Rhodes against Steve Austin, Rick Rude, and Paul Orndorff. And then the main event is Ric Flair and Vader for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. So, yeah, I thought that was really out of left field. I didn't realise they had a sort of Hell in a Cell type structure in the Thunder Cage. So I thought I'd throw it up there. And I also looked at the Meltzer ratings for the match, and like the whole undercard is apparently like dog shit. So there should be something to laugh at there.
That'll be fun.
I'm excited.
So that leaves us with our fourth wild card suggestion.
I've got 3 I can give you to get us started.
Lay 'em out there.
Unforgiven 99 with the Kennel from Hell match.
That's not a bad suggestion.
We can go for the back-to-back Hell in a Cell matches between CM Punk and Ryback. We can go Hell in a Cell 2012, which is 1.5 stars. That's the one with Brad Maddox as a ref. And CM Punk is the heel and Ryback's the face. And then there's the next year, the 2013 one, where the roles are reversed.
There's some good suggestions here. I was going to throw in one of the Hell in a Cells that were on Raw during 1998.
Ooh, that's good.
I'll get up the full card for you. So
Is that the Steve Austin Kane one?
I believe so. One of them is the June 15, 1998 episode of Raw. It's got a bunch of King of the Ring qualifying matches on it, actually. So there's that. What else is there? Droz wrestling Jeff Jarrett, Val Venis wrestling Chains. Kane and Mankind defeating Bradshaw and Tucker. And the Hell in a Cell for that one is Stone Cold and The Undertaker taking on Kane and Mankind in a tag match.
Jesus.
Which is pretty interesting. We'd have a tag Hell in a Cell to cover. The August 24 edition is also a pretty good contender because it actually has the Brawl for All final on it.
Oh, shit.
Bart Gunn and Bradshaw going at it. And yeah, Kane versus Mankind is a Hell in a Cell match on that card randomly.
I reckon we can go one of those odd ones. Not like...
Yeah, we'll go one of those 2.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? The June 15th one with the tag match and the
yeah, I'll go the tag.
qualifying matches, or the one-on-one match and Brawl for All?
I'll go with the tag one.
What do you reckon, Pricey?
Yeah, I'm with Nat.
On board. So June 15, 1998.
Yeah. Is that Raw?
Yeah. I just want to point out that I'm looking at how long the matches went for, and the Kane versus Mankind one on Raw went for 7 minutes and 41 seconds.
Jeez.
They went through the effort of having a Hell in a Cell match on Raw, and it only goes 7 minutes. It's nuts.
Isn't there there's a Hell in a Cell match. It had 6 people in it, and it had Zack Ryder and Jack Swagger in it. There's that dark match one.
Oh yeah, there's a dark match one on Raw, and it's got Cena, Alberto Del Rio, and stuff. I did see that when I was looking at Pro Fight Database, but yeah, unfortunately, it's a dark match.
I wish it had been televised. Yeah, it has Jack Swagger, Cena, CM Punk.
Such a random thing to have.
Yeah.
But so that's our options for this week's Twitter poll. Look out for that. We have Super Brawl 4, Hell in a Cell 2010, Armageddon 2005, and the June 15th, 1998 episode of Monday Night Raw. I think that basically does it for us this week. Stay hunky.